Welcome to episode number 17 of the SwanBank podcast. We are recording on the most beautiful, glorious Tuesday morning, and I'm joined, as I am most of the time, by the wonderful Kathryn Stevens. Kathryn, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you, Sam. The sun is shining and it's really, really nice.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's really lovely.
It's one of the best bank holiday weekends I can remember for weather-wise, I would say.
That's true. That is very true. And both you and I went to Cliff College, didn't we?
We did.
And we always prayed for really good weather at the Cliff weekend.
Yeah.
And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah.
And I did think this weekend, it's a fabulous weekend.
I camped once at festival when I was a student.
Yeah.
And it absolutely bucketed it down. And my tent was pitched on a slope.
Oh, no.
So the rain just streams either side of my tent every morning.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Happy memories.
Happy memories.
Happy memories.
There
Anyway,
you
what
go.
have you been up to this bank holiday weekend?
Well, I've had a couple of nice meals out, if that
Have you?
counts.
Oh,
yes.
very nice.
Yeah.
Nicer than your hotel experience from last week.
Oh, yes.
Did somebody else serve you rather than you having to find your own cutlery and plates?
Yesterday
Lovely.
we went to the Wayfarer in Stone.
Hey, fancy pants.
It was very nice.
Lovely.
Very nice.
What did you have?
I had a smoked salmon and crayfish open sandwich with chunky chips.
Oh, I do love a chunky chip.
There were nice chunky chips as well. Yeah.
My only problem with chunky chips is you get quite a lot less.
And you know, when it came, I thought there's not many chunky chips on there, but actually, once
Fun.
it was substantially
so
enough.
chunky that it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Good.
That was good. So that was very nice. And then I did have another meal on Saturday. I'm trying to think where. Oh, I know. We popped up to Cheshire Oaks on Saturday.
Oh, lovely.
Mm-hmm. And went to Wagamama's.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never been to Wagamama's. Never.
Have you not?
Yeah, I think because when it first opened,
Mm-hmm.
it was like big communal tables.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I
don't want that. I'm not interested in that at all. I don't want to go out for dinner and eat with other people.
Well, you'd like it
so
now.
I've been put off.
Because Wagamama's, in the COVID world, means you've got, partitions up.
Hey,
so
happy
you'd
days.
be fine. It's fine for someone who's antisocial like you. You can just
Great
go
stuff.
and not have to
And
bother
because
about
there's not
anyone
one
else.
in Stoke,
No.
then there's... I've
you've
never
got to travel
really...
to get to one. Funny you should say that, because as Lloyd and I were sitting there eating our Wagamamas, Lloyd said, I think one of these would go down really well in Stoke.
Really?
So we had a little conversation about where in Stoke we think they should put Wagamamas.
All
Do you know
right,
where we decided?
Where?
You know that little bit where there is Nando's and Papa John's and TGI's?
Yeah.
There. We thought it should go there.
Etruria Mills, that's called.
Ah, well, and
I'm never sure how to say that place.
Etruria.
Is it Etruria? Etruria? I don't know. There's too many R's and
Etruria.
E's.
You just say it quickly. Etruria. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, because what I will say is we went to Nando's last week.
Nice.
We tried to go to Etruria Mills, and there was an hour wait for a table.
Because you can't book it.
We went up to the Hive, straight in, which is the little bit outside where the Cineworld is and stuff in Hanley.
I didn't know there was a Nando's there.
There is. It's tucked away in the corner.
Mm.
But it didn't mean there was no queue, but you do have to pay to park there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Well, there we go. How exciting.
You could have left your car down there and walked up.
We did. And there were 6 of us. And none of us thought, it'd be a really good idea to leave some cars down here. So all 6 of us drove up and paid to park outside the Hive, which was not the most sensible thing we've ever done. But hey, live and learn.
Spicy.
Live and learn.
Did you have spicy?
I go medium.
I go medium.
With a lemon and herb sauce on the side.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Because
I feel like the sauces are spicier than what they actually put on the chicken.
Right, okay.
See?
Yeah.
And I just feel like if you go hot, it just ruins it.
Does ruin
just
it.
Kills off your taste buds, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Tricky.
Nice.
Very tricky.
Very nice.
I made the most of the sunshine this weekend, I have to say.
Good.
We went yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Bank Holiday Monday. We went with my sister and my niece to the Peak Wildlife Park. My niece is 1 this week.
Yes, it's a birthday.
Yep. So they came to our house for some brunch in the morning, and then we went over to the Peak Wildlife Park.
Where is the Peak Wildlife Park?
So it's like if you're driving from Leek to Ashbourne.
Yeah.
On that road, it's about 2/3 of the way to Ashbourne.
Oh.
That way.
Okay.
It's very nice. There's penguins.
Good. Oh.
Ellie was captivated by the penguins.
Oh.
She thought they were the best thing in the world.
Oh.
There are goats. They were not very exciting.
No.
Lemurs.
All right.
Some meerkats. Meerkats are funny. A massive tortoise. Tortoise?
Tortoise.
My
Yeah.
mum kept making fun of me for the way I say tortoise.
I don't know why they
now
would
feel
do
very
that.
self-conscious about. But that's okay. What else was there? There was ice cream. We had ice cream. It was lovely.
Nice.
A lovely time.
What kind of ice cream?
I went for a Calippo.
Oh,
I love a Calippo.
refreshing.
Yeah.
I like a Solero, you know.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have Solero shots? They came in like a little plastic tub, and they were like tiny little balls of Solero.
Yes.
They were absolutely the bomb.
Yes, I know what you mean.
Used to have them on a holiday in France every year.
Do you know what I love that you can't get anymore?
Yeah.
In its authentic form, anyway. You know, feasts.
Yes.
You used to get a mint feast.
Oh,
Do you
interesting.
remember a mint feast?
I'm not really a fan of a feast.
Oh, well.
I'm not really a big like ice cream, ice lolly person.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
I like a fruit lolly or an ice cream.
Or an ice cream.
I don't like a combo of the two.
Mint feasts were just the best. You can get Mint Festival, which is like a version.
Oh, right. Is that like the Aldi version?
Well, it probably is, but it's the only version you can get, which is worth it. So I was really excited when I ran around my estate chasing after the ice cream van a couple of weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Special moments.
It was like one of those like, Lloyd, the ice cream van's here. So I said, just follow me, get some money and follow me. So I'm like hearing it. It was like taunting me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like hearing the tune, but I'm like, where in this estate is it? So I'm looking.
Could you not have waited on like the main road through and waited it for?
I was worried
I
was worried I'd missed it.
Oh right.
Do you know what I mean? I'd missed my chance.
Tricky.
So
you were like running down the bypass to try and catch it.
I did like this whole like scanning around, and then I spotted it up the road, so I ran to it.
Did you?
And then it's like, can you just wait? Because my husband's coming with some money.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, that's fine.
So, a whole queue of children.
Yeah.
And then you chasing like
I pushed
like a
all
mad
the kids
woman.
out of the way. Seriously, I did. I tripped them up. I pushed them out of the way. Pushed them in front of traffic, anything just to get there. Let me in. The ice cream man's here.
All your like pastoral evangelism work over the last however long you've been living on that estate, out the window.
Oh, guys, I didn't do
just
that
for
really.
An ice cream.
Just so you know.
What did you have from the ice cream van?
I had an oyster. Do you know what I'm talking about?
An oyster.
Do you know what I'm talking
Not
about?
a clue. Unless you're living in some fancy place with some fancy ice cream.
It's like a wafer in the shape of an oyster.
Right.
And it's got like marshmallow inside it.
I've literally
and dipped
never
in chocolate,
seen or
and
heard
they
of one of
fill
these
it with
before.
ice cream.
No way.
So it's like two like a clamshell kind of thing.
All right. Or an oyster.
Wafers, oyster with marshmallow in, ice cream.
Wow.
Then you can get a flake in, and then you get
and a flake.
monkey's blood.
Oh my God. What?
Monkey's blood.
What is that?
Oh, Sam, you have much to learn.
Right.
It's like raspberry sauce, isn't it?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Did you ask the ice cream man for monkey's blood?
Well,
or were you concerned that he wouldn't know what you were talking about?
Well, Lloyd actually had a conversation with him and said, if we said to you monkey's blood, would you know what we're talking about? He said, I do. He said, I don't hear that very often, but yes, I know what you mean. So I said, see, I told you. I mean, if you're in the northeast.
Is it a northeast thing?
Well, apparently.
Right. Okay.
It's always monkey's blood.
Wow. How bizarre.
I know. It's a bit minging, isn't it, that,
It's
when you
weird.
think about it? 'Cause you don't really want monkey's blood on your ice cream, do you? That would spoil it.
Where does that come from? What?
I don't know.
Wow.
I really don't know.
Bit sadistic in the northeast, aren't you? Flipping heck. Deary me.
So that was very nice. But I also bought a Mint Festival to put in the freezer.
No way.
Because you can't get them from many places. So I thought, right, I'm going to get one of those. Stick it in the freezer.
I've never heard anyone who's bought something from an ice cream van to put in their freezer for another day. I've never heard that before.
Have you not? Well, there you go. It's like forward planning, isn't it? Good forward planning.
I thought I was doing all right in this whole adulting thing, but clearly there's levels for me to go.
And so when I grew up, the wonderful thing about our house, we lived on like the corner, and the ice cream van used to stop right outside.
No.
I could literally hop over the wall to the ice cream van, which we did frequently, for an oyster with monkey's blood on, obviously. But sometimes if like my mum had made a pudding or something like that, and the ice cream man came, she'd say, go and get some ice cream. So just take a big bowl out and say, will you fill this bowl with ice cream? So he'd fill it with Mr. Whippy, then just all delve in, stick it on your apple crumble or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's great.
No way. I was always a bit scared of our ice cream van because it used to go out in the middle of winter, which suggests to me that there were bad things happening out of the year.
So did you just run home?
Yeah, I just ran away. It's a bit of a scaredy cat as a child.
Whereas I'm
really
like
honest.
running towards, like kicking people out of the way. You're like running away.
Yeah. Hey, big news in the life of SwanBank this week.
Yes.
Big news.
Yes. The big news is Sam's going on holiday tomorrow. Is
Yes.
that the big news?
Going on holiday tomorrow. Yes.
There's some even bigger news.
Even bigger news.
Yes.
Even bigger news. We are very excited.
We are. We have a new minister joining
We
the
do.
team in September.
We've finally binned off Kathryn. She's going back to the northeast with her monkey's blood and her oysters.
And a
That's
funny
not
little
true.
accent.
That's not true. That's not true. Ruth Jeffries from Market
Yes.
Drayton is coming to join our team. This has all happened very quickly.
Very quickly.
But we're really excited about it, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. We kind of see God's hand in
Yeah,
how this
definitely.
worked through, really. So it's quite remarkable, which is just wonderful, and it'll be just such a blessing to have a full complement of staff.
Because since Ellie left 18 months ago now, we've been a staff member down, and especially all through this COVID season, that's had a huge impact, hadn't it, on particularly on you, but also the rest of the team as well.
Yeah, it's affected us all in different ways. It's been a tough time, really.
Yeah. And so somebody new to come in to start in September with some new ideas, some new energy, and a whole bunch of really great gifts that will be so vital to the next steps of our life as a church
and
together.
an extra pair of hands.
Yeah. And she's lovely.
And
Comes
she's
with
lovely.
A lovely husband.
Yeah.
2 girls as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Very bubbly.
Very bubbly.
Very bubbly and friendly, and I think she'll fit right in.
She will. We'll have to include her on the podcast, I think.
Oh yeah, she'll love doing that.
She will.
Are you sacking me?
Or maybe.
Sacking me?
We'll
Sam, I can't.
you could sack
believe
me,
it.
to be fair.
Well, I can't because you're the one who does the technology.
Ruth
so
might come with some knowledge.
She's quite. Yeah, I know she's been editing videos for a year and a bit through lockdown. So
I'll have to buy some new kit because I can only plug 2 microphones into here. So unless we're out of COVID and can share, tricky times.
Yeah.
Tricky times.
So that's great. We're really excited about that.
Yeah.
Need to pray that things fall into place in terms of housing and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And there's lots of things to sort out quickly in terms of schools for the girls and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So prayers would be much appreciated. But we're excited to be able to introduce you all to her and for her to sort of get her feet under the table and get cracking with doing some ministry out in the community and some preaching and leading worship and getting to know people around the place.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that we'd want to do like a welcome service.
Yeah.
And by September we might just be able to be all together.
That'd be ace.
So
I did think a way to bring everyone back together.
It would be great, wouldn't it? And actually, because she's coming to work in the circuit, predominantly at SwanBank, with a bit of time at the village church at Brindley Ford as well. But when ministers are appointed, it's like a circuit appointment. So it would be great to have a circuit service. And we've got 2 lay pastors as well who started beginning of this year, and we've not been able to do a proper welcome for them. So I did think we could have a really big celebration if we're allowed in September.
Amazing.
We'll just have to see.
Yeah. We're very grateful for all the restrictions. Certainly I feel very grateful for all the restrictions having been lifted a little bit, particularly with the weather being so nice. We went to our friends in Manchester for a barbecue in their garden on Friday. And just to be able to be in the same space as all these friends that you've sort of been starved of being able to see for such a long time is just lovely. But I'm also... My panic is that they're going to send us back a step.
Oh,
whereas
the news this weekend has been, there's been a few speculations, hasn't there, around this new variant.
Yeah. Tricky.
And so
Tricky.
we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Boris is married now, so.
He is. Do you know what? We're going to St Ives on holiday next week, and we've been sent all sorts of stuff from our Airbnb host because the G7 summit is meeting in St Ives and Carbis Bay.
No way.
Next week while we're there. So there's all sorts of roads that are closed. You can't get the train into St Ives. It'd be fine because it just means we won't go anywhere anyway. My basic plan is to leave our apartment in the morning, go for a cup of coffee somewhere, eat a pasty on the beach, go in for a nap.
Great.
And then back for dinner in the evening.
Would you have ketchup with your pasty?
No. Straight. I mean, buy it from the shop, walk to the beach, tuck in.
I would have some ketchup in my bag.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I do love a pasty though.
They are unbelievable.
Peppery.
Unbelievable.
Peppery pasty.
And we went in September to St Ives.
Mhm.
I'd not been since I was 1 year old.
Mhm.
But we found it's called the St Ives Bakery, and they do the most amazing pasties, a whole selection. So we basically worked our way through the menu through the week. I think I had a pasty every day for lunch on the same spot on the beach. We're very much creatures of habit, me and Alicia. We don't really like change. So we're probably going to do exactly the same thing again this time around. But it'll be lovely, and we'll absolutely love it.
Oh, what was your favourite pasty?
Oh, interesting. I mean, the classic Cornish pasty was excellent.
Yes.
Sometimes you don't get very much beef.
Filling
you
in
get
it. Too much Swede and
sweet.
potato.
Oh, yeah. Who wants a Swede, really?
I love a Swede.
What's the difference between a Swede and a turnip?
Who knows? No one knows. It's the same thing, isn't it? Well, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Is it? We used to always have, on our roast dinner at home. We always used to have. My dad used to do mashed up carrot and Swede together.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've never had it anywhere else.
Yeah, you can buy it quite often.
Can you?
Like, yeah. Quite a lot of
No
shops do like mashed.
Well.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is a turnip a little bit more yellowy and a Swede a little bit more orangey?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
If you're listening and you know what the difference
Dave Howe,
between
if you know what the difference is, just message me.
our one listener, if you know what the difference between a Swede and a turnip is, please let us know. We maybe just need to turn this into a phone call with Dave Howe every week. Anyway, right, we've been waffling for far too long here. So, as you will probably know, on a Sunday evening, we've been working our way through the book of Hebrews.
Yeah.
And so we came to what was a really challenging chapter in the book of Hebrews on Sunday evening. And by now you'll have seen that a Bible study came out where Gerard was able to unpack the rest of that chapter in a little bit more depth. But it introduces us to this character of Melchizedek, who's the high priest.
It's a great name, isn't it?
A great name. Lovely. Do you think they call him Melk for
Melk.
short?
Well, it's a tricky name for a child to learn to spell, isn't it?
Yeah. Kiz.
Deck.
I've no idea what I was saying then.
Sorry, I sent you off.
That's quite all right.
Tricky
passage.
Yeah.
Introduces to this character of Melchizedek, who is this great high priest. But as the author has done so many times, is comparing this Melchizedek character to Jesus and setting out the fact that Jesus is this, better high priest than Melchizedek could ever be.
Yeah.
And so we had a conversation around that on Sunday evening. We talked about a bit of what it means for Jesus to be our great high priest, and we made reference to the verse from Romans that talks about Jesus interceding for us and what that means in our lives.
Yeah.
And then there was a question about why Melchizedek is why reference is made to him being the king of righteousness and peace, of all the things that could be, and what I mean, what that might teach us or show us or demonstrate it to us about who Jesus is. Therefore, if he is our great high priest and is greater than Melchizedek, and what that means for us and how we relate to Jesus, I guess. Yeah. And we sort of started a conversation about it, and you said, I think I need to go away and think about that and read up on that a bit more.
Yeah.
So
I did have a bit of a think about it. It's one of those annoying things when after the event you think, oh, I could have said this and I could have said that. But anyway, that's the danger of what we're doing on Sunday nights at the minute, isn't it?
It's great.
I do as well. In Hebrews 7, it says, his name in the first place means King of Righteousness. Next, he's also King of Salem, that is King of Peace. And Salem is the word for Jerusalem.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. So that in itself is quite interesting. Salem, Jerusalem means peace.
Okay.
That's
I didn't know that
meaning.
Either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that in itself is interesting, isn't it?
It's really interesting at the moment.
There's not peace in that place.
No, and there hasn't been for a long time, has there?
No.
Even when it's not been making the news, there's always been underlying stuff going on.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Jerusalem?
No, I haven't. Have you?
Yeah. So I went twice.
Wow. How have you been to Jerusalem?
Oh, it's all about who you know. It was great. So we went with a charity called the Amos Trust.
All right, yeah.
Who basically working for peace, really, in that in that part of the world. So we stayed in Bethlehem, and then had a couple of days up in Nazareth towards the end. But most of it was sort of a week. Half of the trip was go and see all the sites and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then half the trip was go and meet some projects working for peace and reconciliation between Jews and Palestinians, which was incredible, really.
Amazing.
So amazingly eye-opening, because it's not an easy situation to even begin to wrap your head around.
No.
And so we had a whole weekend where they basically walked us through the history of it and how it's come to where it is. But just to be in it and to have conversations with particularly young people who were on either side of the conflict and a whole spectrum of opinion. Yeah. It just to go from that to then looking at all these holy sites and standing on the top of the Mount of Beatitudes, for example, and thinking the words that Jesus would have spoken in this nation, and now looking at the state of it, where there's walls everywhere, and we went to one place where there was literally a barrier down the middle of a street, and one side was for Israelis, one side was for Palestinians, and you just think this is not a place of peace. Which is just really sad, and I don't come with any answers to how it's going to get anywhere closer to a place of peace, but it just every time it crops up in the news, you just think this is getting further and further away from being a place of peace than
absolutely.
Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent, but
I think the link between King of Righteousness and King of Peace is an interesting one, and that was one of the questions, wasn't it, that came on Sunday night, and as I've reflected on it, I've thought actually there is a real link between those two things when it comes to the outworking of what it means to follow God, really. And so when we're in relationship with God, then we're in a sense we're made righteous, not because of who we are or because of anything we've done, but because of Jesus. So Jesus becomes our righteousness, really.
I wonder if it'd be helpful, just before we go any further, to just 30 seconds on what we understand about what righteousness is.
What righteousness is.
I think peace is something we can grasp hold of. Yeah. Righteousness is one of those church words, I think. Yeah. That we.
Yeah. I would say for me, righteousness is about living a right life in God. Okay. So that's where I would put it, being made right with God, being in right relationship. Yeah. What about you?
That's what I said. Being made right with God.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, because it takes.
Yeah.
It puts the onus onto God as the one who ultimately makes us right with Him. It's not something that we can earn or achieve.
No.
It comes from God, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah. And it is. It's a gift. It's a gift of God. But I think it's a gift of God we need to seek and receive.
Yeah.
And live.
It's back to that balance that we're finding all the way through Hebrews of there being a gift from God that we have to embrace.
Yeah.
But actually that takes some level of human effort to work out, and it's making sure we get those two things balanced in our understanding, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's the classic kind of image, isn't it, of being given a gift, but you've got to unwrap it and use it for it to be anything other than something that just sits there.
Yeah.
And it's the same with righteousness, that it is a free gift of God, but unless we choose to journey with it and accept it and live with it, then it actually doesn't touch our lives. So as people who are in relationship with God, then we recognize that part of that gift is being made righteous by God. And for me, that doesn't mean that we always get everything right. It's for me about the gift of God taking more and more root within our lives, so that hopefully we live more and more in tune with how God would want us to live.
It's really powerful.
The journey of holiness, I suppose.
Yeah, great.
Is how I would see it.
So back to the relationship between righteousness and peace.
Yeah.
How do we see those two as linking together?
Well, so I've been thinking quite a lot about it, and I think ultimately, when we live in that relationship of righteousness through God, then we're given peace. That peace,
Okay.
peace is. I think
Interesting.
peace is a byproduct of the righteousness of God. So and it's that peace of God which passes all understanding that's spoken of in the Bible as well.
Yeah.
It's a depth of peace that is there even when externally things are not as, as we might want them to be or as we think they should be. So when we're in that right relationship with God, then we have that peace of God within us.
Yeah.
That sustains us. That's it's robust. It's a robust peace. It stays. It doesn't disappear. It remains.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about peace being given by God. I'm not sure I've ever thought about it like that before. Peace is something that just happens when everyone gets on. Do you know what I mean? That whereas I guess peace is a gift.
Yeah, it is. And if we think about it's part of the work of the Holy Spirit in our lives. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, and so on. So to live within the righteousness of God, it's through the work of Jesus on the cross. But actually, we are inspired and enabled to continue our Christian journey by the Holy Spirit in our lives. And so when we're those who are seeking the Holy Spirit's presence in our lives, then what comes is the fruit of the Spirit into our lives. And the fruit of the Spirit isn't, we don't like pick and choose. I like that one, but I don't want that one. It's, actually they come as a package. And we grow in all of those things. So love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. And so as we continue to grow in God, then that's those things work their way into our lives and grow within our lives like any good fruit grows, doesn't it?
And I guess the passage we're talking about here is one about Jesus being our high priest. And I guess to be a high priest in this situation, you need somebody who is, in right relationship with God. We know that's what Jesus' priority was, always to be in tune with the heart of the Father and being obedient. And making sure that, there's all sorts of stuff in the chapters beyond about being a high priest, being a mediator between the two. And ultimately for that mediation to work, there needs to be peace.
Yes.
Doesn't there?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's how it works, isn't it? Jesus is the one who makes us right with God. So that so there is peace between humanity and God. There is a sense of a peaceful relationship.
Yeah, so and that's a really interesting link that you're making there. So that role of mediation is often a peacemaking role, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So that's great. And so I think when we think about righteousness and peace, and we look at the lack of peace that's going on within the world, and so many people who don't have any sense of peace within their being as well. So people who are wrestling with stuff. Then I guess one of the questions to ask is where are people at in terms of their relationship with God? If we're made to be in relationship with God, then if we're not in relationship with God, there's something fundamentally missing. And therefore we're not going to be at peace. We are going to be wrestling with stuff. And so in my own life, when there's a lack of peace within my life, then I need to go back and think, well, why is that? And maybe actually I'm not in a right relationship with God. Do you know? And I need to get back to basics and get back to what the gift is that Jesus has won for us through the victory of the cross.
And that's when we say that, it's not a difficult thing to work our way back to, because it's actually just about going back to basics and recognizing that I can't do anything to make myself right with God. It's simply about going back to Jesus and saying, I need you, because without you I'm messing up all the time. And there might be some effort that goes into unpicking some other stuff, but ultimately it's about just offering ourselves back to God and saying, I need you, so that we can be in a right relationship. And it's not to suggest that living lives of peace is easy. Do you know? Because actually there's always going to be
one traditional hymn, Just As I Am, says fightings and fears within, without.
Right.
So it's a recognition that there's conflict within ourselves and outside of ourselves. We're surrounded
definitely.
by the potential for conflict, and so it's, and particularly some of the external conflicts that maybe have nothing to do with anything we've done or haven't done, but just come in our lives. But that's when I think the peace of God, which passes all understanding, takes its place, because it like humanly it doesn't make sense. Humanly it's like, how can that person be living in a sense of peace with all of the awful stuff they're having to live with at the moment? But that's the gift of God.
Yeah, and that's peace has to be a gift, because it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
For it to be anything else, does it? Because it's not something that we can't work really hard to find peace within ourselves.
No.
That actually goes the other way and probably creates more conflict and more.
Yeah. I think we'll always ultimately get to a place where we need to look outside of ourselves to find that ultimate peace. And we can work towards kind of journeying through the scriptures, positive self-talk, all of those kind of things that can be helpful things within our lives, but ultimately, without relationship with Christ, we'll never find that sense of peace, I don't think.
I think it's interesting, just as we wrap up, that the amount of stories you hear about people coming to God because they feel a sense of discontent or unease in themselves. And life might be going great and really well, and there might not be any sort of tangible problems going on for that person, but there's just something in themselves that draws them. And there's people in our church who will have similar stories to that, and I wonder if that again is that needing something from outside ourselves to put us at peace. And ultimately that is peace with God and being made right with God, isn't it? And that's been one of the things that constantly draws us back.
Absolutely good.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of your wisdom, as always. We're going to have a week off next week.
Having a little break. Sam's on holiday.
To hopefully give us some more things to talk about.
Absolutely. Well, the next time we meet together, I'll be listening all about your pasty choices.
Yes. I'll give you
how it's gone.
A full and comprehensive review of our holiday. So look forward to that, people. As always, you can join us on Sunday, services at 10:45 and 6:50. Services at 10:45 and 6. Services at 10:45 and 6:15, and you can catch up all the way through the week over on YouTube. It's been great hanging out and chatting. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time.
Bye.